those the dead hard eyes, just like the looking behind you and giving you the firm eye contact. If somebody's doing that, they have dead hard. All right, so this is good old Zeus. Good old Zeus. Zeus underscore Argo. No underscore, just space. But space can be underscore if you really think about it. 2,345 hours, so another very, very seasoned gamer. Playing Sadako, good old toilet hair lady, on Haddonfield, which is... I wonder how much of this will be Haddonfield and not actually you, because playing an M1 killer on Haddonfield is kind of gross. At least you have a 3-gen situation kind of naturally on this map, but like those windows are pretty rough. Pretty rough to pretty rough to deal with. Even on M2 killers, like those windows are pretty rough to deal with. You have a really good build. Very good build, very strong build. So you at least have that to deal with the annoying map. So yeah, the opening panoramic is not here. Nothing crazy happened. Nothing crazy went down. Didn't miss much. Looks like this was during the event too. I don't know a lot of things about her build. Bloody fingernails is always good. I think newspaper is fine. Newspaper is one of those, like, you know, phase mind game add-ons. Bloody fingernails is just in general a good add-on. Cool. Going for some split pressure. Or she's just gonna... Did she run back into you? I think... You went upstairs. Yeah, this has been weird. I don't think this is you. Like, listen to this. Like, sound and DVD is messed up. Listen to her from the moment that you hit her. Where is she? You can't hear her. She went upstairs, but it doesn't sound like it. Because you didn't hear footsteps, you didn't hear her groaning. That's just the game having bad sound. That's not on you. Because now you hear it as clear as day, even though you were standing in almost the same spot. Which is like, why? That's just game sound being terrible. Also, the optimal play here for her was to go to the back vault and the back porch, but she didn't do it, so she kind of played badly. So it was kind of like a so dumb it worked kind of thing. I don't think that's on you. That's just her being silly. I do like the choice to chase the person you already know where he is. Instead of like trying to find the other person and wasting time. Very good. That was smart. That was what you did there was really smart, because it wouldn't have been bad if you had dead hard and you hit it, because that's an extra stabiffle stack. But in general, besides running the perk stabiffle, like yoinking him was the exact right play there, because either he dead hards and then you just wait and you smack him, or he vaults like he did and you yoink him. So that was literally perfect. Good. You know they want that gen. A good pallet, so you should get it out of the way. Right next to a main building, and then relatively safe. Okay, they're still not on that. Good. Small thing. Small thing. Oh god, you teleported the moment I paused. That was very disorienting. Small thing. Not really having to do with you, but like, if you didn't know this, Sadako's televisions actually have, I think it's like a 15-meter range, where if a survivor is around it, it plays the opening cinematic on the television instead of static. So if you look to your right to that television, and you think Ada's still like hiding around, if she is around, it'll show the opening cinematic if she's like around this TV. But if nobody's there, it's just gonna be playing the static. But if somebody's, I think it's like 15 meters, I'd have to check the exact range. But if somebody's close to the TV, essentially, it plays the opening cinematic. So it's a quick little way, like you said, to kind of have like baby base kit whispers and check for survivors. So it's always good to be checking your televisions with Sadako. Never knew about it. It's really handy. It's really cool. And a lot of people, it's like one of those things. It's like, unless you notice it, it's like, the game doesn't tell you or anything, so it's not like it's your fault that you don't know, right? Cool, good. You waited out the dead hard. Holding down the spicy 3-gen over here. There's Ada. She had moved over to House of Pain. Which is probably smart of her to do because she knows that you guys want that inside, that you know that they want that inside gen. So she knows that you know that, so she's not greeting it. So. I do that all the time. I just get excited and swing a little early. I don't know why she vaults here, but if you really, really want to sell like a mind game like this, where you're like trying to like wiggle back and forth and make them vault, put your red stain over here. I know they can see you, but like there's something about putting your red stain around the corner of a loop that scares the hell out of people for some reason. Like they like she sees you and she knows you're doing this like wiggle back and forth mind game to get her to vault. But if you throw your red stain over there, like she'll vault like right away. I don't know why. It's like you know this is the mind game. But like if you throw your red stain around the other side of the corner, like that's like they're it's like seeing the green light. They're like, okay, now it's time to vault, you know? So like, yeah, like that's like kind of the green light to go. Also, character specific thing, you have newspaper. Her passive phasing is controllable. It's not so much passive. She has passive phasing, but you can actually control her phasing. Unlike with Spirit, which kind of just happens in the background. So if you really want to extra sell this and have something character specific to Sadako, go in and out of Manifest. So they kind of like don't know exactly where you are. You could be at the edge of the hedge, or you could be over to the left. It's very ambiguous, right? So you could do that as well. So, yeah. Stacking those swivel stacks. Why they spam it? Yeah, that's why they spam it. They're essentially controlling their passive phase to mess with you. She is really not paying attention. She almost ran into you. She's giving those dead art eyes. Yeah, giving you the dead art eyes. I make this joke a lot, and I know this is going up on the YouTube. So for those of you who aren't on the Twitch side of things, I call those the dead hard eyes, just like the looking behind you and giving you the firm eye contact. If somebody's doing that, they have dead hard. They have dead hard. So just wait. Or do the little head nod mind game. Like, if somebody is giving you that intense eye contact while running backwards, like, they got the E. They're packing. So wait it out. It's one of those things that just, like, in the context of their situation, lore-wise, it's really weird. Like, why would you just be, like, staring dead at the killer like that? But, like, it's a thing, so... So, here, very minor thing. Very minor thing. You saw Ada come out of House of Pain. So, if you were looking for a gen to kind of just, like, check for progress, you saw Ada come out of House of Pain. So, you know that gen has some sort of progress, unless she was, like, in there searching in her chest or something. So, like, you saw her come out of House of Pain. So, either she started that gen, or she was in there getting, like an item or something. But realistically, she's probably in there on the gen. And if furthermore, if they're in the Swift, or even if it's only like two of them, like a duo or a trio, she called out probably that she was on that specific gen. So if that's the case, and she's in some sort of comms, somebody's probably on that. She probably called out a rotate or something. So if you were looking for a gen to check, think about like where you've seen survivors recently, and like what would be like the closest gen to that area. And that's kind of how you have, like, info in your head without having to have, like, info perks. Also, Night Matt, I appreciate you as well. It's fine. Can't find anybody. Might as well go back to the book. Unfortunately, it's your obsession, but, like, you almost had full stacks, so that's fine. Yeah, see, like, you fully went around that time. Like, you threw your red stain almost at him, so he panic vaulted. Honestly, this pallet, I would leave it up. Because look at it. It's literally super short on both sides. Super short on both sides. This is one of the most easily mind gameable pallets on this map. I would just leave it up. Because what happens if they go here and they vault? Unless they have life, like, just mind game around the corner and smack them. This is a death trap. This is an illusion of safety. They see the pallet and they go, "Wow, it's not a dead zone. I can hang out here." But realistically, the pallet's so weak that they're gonna get hit anyway. So leave it as kind of like a trap. Like, hey, you want to loop over here, even though it's dog, even though this pallet's terrible. Yeah, you should totally loop over here. Come over here. Come over here. Come loop over here. Give you a little smack. Unless they have life. Obviously, if they have life, that's you giving them their exhaustion perk for free. Never thought about that. Yeah, like weaker pallets. Weaker pallets are your friend. Pallets like the ones in the hedges over here that are completely safe. Yeah, bulldoze those. Kick those out of the way. They are working against you actively. But very, very weak pallets that are so easily mind gameable that like you get the hit like you just already did on that bill, just leave them up. Because the survivor will go there over doing nothing. And they'll be like, okay, well, at least I have a pallet over here. And then the pallet's so weak it doesn't matter. And then you basically get to hit it. Instead of them potentially running into the building instead. Like this pallet, if he throws this, kick this. Like it's super strong. Super weak pallets? Nah. You can just leave them. And once again, that's a time saver, isn't it? I know they buffed base kit kick speed, but that's a time saver, right? And time in DBD is gen time. It's all about shaving off those seconds. Shaving off those seconds. That's unfortunate. That's okay, though. This is not for you, but this is for the people watching on YouTube. Because this is something I actually don't see a lot of killers do that are like trying to get better at the game. So what you did here is a little mind game. You pretended you were going to go this way, so he doubles back. Your intention the whole time was to kick the pallet. Your intention the whole time was to kick the pallet, but now, essentially, through that little mind game where you faked going right, you have forced him back to the center of the pallet. If you had not done this mind game, he would be already through the center of the street all the way to one of those very, very annoying two-story houses. So by keeping him here, by essentially faking going this way, you've bought more time for you to catch up to him after kicking the pallet. And if you don't do this, you should. You should fake one way, so you waste their time, and then kick the pallet. That way they don't have as much distance afterwards. Like, he would already be at that hook if you hadn't done that. But because you did, he got to the hook late, which is better. Shaving off those seconds. I always swear, her theme sounds like a beehive. Like an angry beehive. Good idea to hook him near where Bill is. That way you're essentially pressuring them both at the same time. If you, it's kind of hard to tell if you don't main the character, but you can tell if you successfully, added, condemned to somebody here on the left side. So if you teleport like this, and you don't see anything on the left here change, you knew nobody was there. This is a small Sadako thing. However, if you did see that change on the left side, you know somebody was ratting. So keep an eye on that. Yeah. Especially when it's in a two-story or like a multi-floor area, it's always better to clear boons. Sometimes it's better to lead boons up because it's just like not in your best interest to deal with it. But if it's in like a multi-floor area, it's like it's typically incredibly strong. You should probably just get rid of it. I think the better play here is just follow him out. If you plan to down him anyway. The better plan was just to follow him out. He didn't even vault, he just waited for it too. So if you had followed through that mind game to like go under the bottom, you wouldn't have caught him because he didn't vault. He's not paying attention. Good, see? Oh, he had light. That's not your fault. It's just exhaustion perk over. Yeah, you played that perfectly. He just had the exhaustion to bail him out. And you know you didn't have Dead Hard because you just used Life, so there you go. See, like this pallet, for example, this is becoming a pseudo pallet video, and I'm apologizing for that. It's just like a topic. Like this pallet I would kick, because even though it's weak on this side, if they run it on the car side on the left, it is safe. So I would actually, I would kick that one, which you probably will after this, but since we're on the topic of like what pallets do we kick and which ones do we not. Because a bad survivor will loop it and give you the oh, you don't kick it. A bad survivor will loop it on the short side and give you the hit, but a good survivor will loop you on the left side and it'll be entirely safe. So yeah, it's not in your best interest. Are you just trying to condemn somebody? Yeah, you are. Okay, I was like, you're probably trying to condemn Ada, aren't you? Oh, she got a tape though. Oh, that's shit. That sucks. Hey, Zachary Buckery. Or M2? Oh, okay. It was on accident. So you didn't even mean to condemn her? That's funny. That's funny. Bill's close now, though, as well. If you want to do that. Oh, I do that all the time. Because all my buttons are on the side of my mouse. If I grip my mouse too hard, I'll mess stuff up. I mostly do it in Siege, but not in DBD. But it does happen sometimes. What went wrong there? Anything go wrong, or is it just kind of like... Yeah, that's just kind of like... Yeah, sometimes you'll get this hit, and sometimes you won't. And if you, like, mind game the other way, like, you fake mind game this way, like, to the right, she's just gonna go around the other side of the car. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's nothing you did wrong in this mind game, but, you know, like we were pointing out earlier, if the pallet was just gone, would have been fine, right? Would have been fine. By the way, I made a whole video about what pallets you should leave up and what pallets you should kick. So, let's see, break it or leave it. Or is it kick it or leave it? Yeah, kick it or leave it. So, yeah. If you want a little... very, very brief explanation on like which pallets you kick and which ones you don't, I already made that video, so educate yourself. Not you specifically, Zeus, just people in general. Like this one I would kick because it's safe on both sides because of those monkey bars. Good. Good. Because, like, a good survivor... Because, like, even though these aren't, like, super long, a good survivor will fake and waste a lot of your time here. It's one of those things, it's like, this is where a lot of the disconnection in what makes good killers and bad killers gets so confusing. Because things that work on bad survivors don't work on good survivors. And because the MMR is so, like, all over the place in the matchmaking, like, what works here may not work on the next match or even other people in this same match, right? Because, like, this, you were able to mind game this and down her really quickly, which, no offense to this player, she shouldn't be getting down that quickly at this tile, right? But, you know, a good player could get a lot out of this without even dropping it yet. So it's like, that's why there's so much, like, you know, well, I'm going to do this because I know better. And it's, well, yeah, your MMR and your region, yeah, probably you can get away with dumb stuff like that. But as soon as you run into players that can actually, like, you know, get, like, 3 or 4 loops out of this tile before dropping it, and then when they drop it, they're, like, faking the pallet vault and stuff, it's like, suddenly you're in a nightmare, right? Suddenly you're, like, completely unprepared, which is why it's good to always practice this, even if you're running into not so efficient opponents. Because then you'll be prepared for when you actually do get, like, sweat squads and bully squads and stuff like that, right? Arm yourselves with knowledge. Like how Bill has object. So weird. It sucks that he's your obsession, because essentially you don't want to chase after him, but you always know where he is. This ace doesn't even go into House of Pain. Like, holy moly. See that? This tile, this palette is interesting because if they use it to extend House of Pain, it's really strong, but if they're just out here by itself, it's really weak, because it's only this small side and that's it. But if they're running out of basement and they use this pallet, it's kind of like the pallet on the outside of Gas Heaven, where the pallet's theoretically really weak, but it's part of a stronger loop. So it is good to get rid of this. It is really good to get rid of this. It's already holding W. Yeah, but like if you still made the right play, because if they come back to this House of Pain later, like I said, that extends the loop. Like they can come out of the basement and hit that pallet and get even more distance. That was good hearing to see that he wasn't up there actively. Why, Bill? Why did you stick that anyway? What were you thinking, brother? See, even just to use distance, even just as distance, leaving that pallet up allowed him to get away from you. Now, thankfully, he's an idiot and he's about to run back into you. Yeah, thankfully, he's stupid, right? But, like, no offense to the player. It was a stupid play, not a stupid person. But, like, even just as, like, a distance tool, like, imagine this pallet wasn't here in this scenario. Because he's able to vault, and if you want to continue chasing him here, you essentially have to break this. Because what he's going to do is he's going to vault and make so much distance this way over back to the 2-story house, which he ends up going to. But you would, if you didn't have your TV on up there, which is something that could have happened, somebody could have taken the tape out to prevent you from going over there. That's a plausible scenario. You would have to walk all the way around this little tile to keep chasing him, which you would lose so much distance. So, like, case in point of what I said earlier, it's probably better to get it out of the way. Yeah. Case point. Thankfully, you had a TV on in here, so you just kind of like teleport. But even here, he makes the wrong play. You can hear him. You can hear Sadako teleporting, so he should be able to hear you up here and then left the house. He should have went back the other way. The moment he heard the teleport upstairs, he should have left the house and went back out towards that jungle, or not jungle gym. It's literally a jungle gym. not the Dead by Daylight term of a jungle gym, like literally monkey bars. he should have gone back to that tile. But luckily he's not paying attention, so it works out for you. But if he was paying attention, he could have went back to the monkey bars and been safe theoretically. Some things? Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. They're making some choices. Fortunately, in the match, or not in the match, but kill your obsession with 4 stacks only, but that's okay. That's okay. That's still helpful. There we go. Get it out of here. Get that out of here. That's a big thing. I don't even think I explained that in that video where I'm talking about like pallet strengths. Is like you got to think about what new loops. No, I do talk about it. Yeah, I think you got to think about like what new loops are you creating by leaving a tile up. Right? Because essentially, like, you're essentially placing down, like, dropping a pallet and not kicking it results in there essentially being a window, right? Like, essentially a brand new window vault has appeared in the middle of the map, right? And I feel like if you treat it like that, it makes a lot more sense. Because imagine if, there was just, like, suddenly a window vault in between the 2 houses, right? Like, that's pretty good, right? To have a window resource right in the middle of these 2 houses, right? And you're like, oh, okay. But like now, because it's a pallet, you can destroy that window, right? Like, think about, would I want a window vault, a safe window vault in this area? Think about that. Think about that as your perspective of like whether I should kick a pallet or not. Because essentially that's what a pallet becomes once it's down, is it's a window vault. Would I want a window vault in this spot? And the answer is no. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Because that's essentially, hold on, 1042. That's essentially what this pallet is over here, is like, so essentially, look at this pallet right here, at this initial chase you had. So we're talking about thinking of pallets as like, down pallets as window vaults. Because this is so short on both sides, this is effectively a Z-wall. You know the little useless Z-walls you have at the edge of like every map, every like general map, like Auto Haven, Macmillan, Coldwind. You know the Z-walls where it's just like 2 little strips and then it's a vault? Those aren't helpful. Those are terrible, right? like you wouldn't get rid of a Z-wall if somebody wants to go over there, because you're like, well, Z-walls are stupid. If you tried to loop there, I'm just going to hit you, idiot. So this is essentially, once this pallet gets dropped, it's so short on both sides, it's essentially a Z-wall vault. So you might as well leave it. Whereas like the monkey bars over here, they're kind of like a long wall, short wall tile. Let's see, where do you kick that? These are essentially a long wall, short wall, you know, or a long wall vault. Sorry, wrong phrasing there. It's more of like a long wall vault, right? So you don't like long walls are good for survivors. So you don't want to create that. You want to get rid of it, right? So start thinking of it that way. Maybe that helps you think about like what pallets you should clear or not. At this point, they're pretty host. They have 3 gens and 3 people. They're probably not going to get through that. Yeah, there's not really a way they win this besides, like, abusing some windows, which I don't think this team is capable of doing, no offense to them, based on the plays they've made so far. Unless they decide to abuse the house windows, they're not going to really buy enough time for these gens to get done. Ace just grabbed a tape. So, looking at just Sadako things, but Sadako-specific things, we talked about earlier keeping your eye on the left side of the screen to see when if you teleport near someone, they add condemned. You add condemned stacks to them, which you can't see their actual condemned stats, but you do see their statuses change as they become more condemned, as they get more static on their character model. So just a small little Sadako thing. Usually when you see somebody just like suddenly go up really fast in the static progression on the left side of the screen, like this ace is about to, that means they grabbed a tape. Yeah. So he just grabbed a tape. So he is now close to condemned because his portrait just zoomed up really quickly. But it also conversely means because he has a tape that he's about to get rid of his condemned stack. So if you can get his VHS tape to the other TV on the other side of the map, he's going to be able to get rid of his condemned. So this is kind of like a player choice moment for you. If you want to possibly condemn this person, or at least still have the condemned pressure of them worrying about their condemned stacks, I would start looking for this guy, right? Obviously, you have one person dead at 3 gens, so like you can do basically whatever you want here. You could throw for the condemned, or you could completely ignore it. Who cares? But like just Sadako things. He has a tape right now. That's why his static went from like barely there to just suddenly almost done. Because grabbing a tape adds so many stacks. So yeah, you have the option to go try to condemn him or stop him from getting rid of his condemned by paying attention to that on the left side of the screen. Yeah, so you could be, yeah. So, yeah. So that guy was going to that television, and it's kind of like an info thing too, right? Because you see that he has all this static right on the left side of the screen. You know he's going for a TV right now, because if you hold on to the VHS tape, you're going to get condemned. It's going to keep adding stacks. You shouldn't have your VHS tape for very long. So you know he's going to be vaguely around one of these televisions soon. Soon he will be around one of these televisions, so you kind of just like hang out and see which one he's going for, and you know, cut him off midway. So now he has to hold on to his tape, which is not good for him at all. Yeah, he just got a little excited there, that's all. Cross eventually, yeah. That kind of feels disgusting, to be honest, for that reason. Oh boy, sprint burst. And you do the right thing there to just be like, okay, have fun. Sprint burst towards nothing. I'm just gonna vibe. Yep, there he is. There, see, by case in point, because you cut him off from getting his TV, he had to hold onto the tape, and now he's condemned. See, exactly what we were talking about. So now you can go, he's healed up now, but you can go hit him, down him, and insta-kill him. which you don't necessarily need to because you already have somebody dead, but it is a free kill, so you might as well do it. Yeah, at this point, yeah, obviously you see Ada just got a tape as well. At this point, you can waste a lot of time. Like, even if this bill was still up, at 3 gens, getting somebody out of the game, like, right away, that'd still be worth it. You can take a long chase if it means somebody's literally out of the freaking video game. There's no greater pressure you can exert on the gens than having somebody literally dead. So, yeah. You don't eye him? You don't eye him? Okay, okay. You scared me. You scared me. Don't scare me like that. Don't scare me like that. Don't you scare me like that. You made me look. That was terrifying. Don't ever do that to me. Rose my blood pressure. It looks like Ada put her tape away because she went down on her condemned. It's fine. You already condemned kill somebody. Mori, I know. It just scared me for a second. Like, no, please. Because, like, what a lot of people would do in that scenario is they would forego the Mori to get pain rest pressure. Which, you know, tying back to what I said, there's no greater pressure you could have on the game than quite literally getting somebody dead. Somebody being dead is the highest form of pressure you can exert as killer. So there's some foreheads, some dumbos, who would literally be like, oh, well, I guess I won't Mori him because, like, I want more pain res value. It's like, no, you can just have him out of the game. You just have him out of the game. That is always quicker. That is always the most pressure. This ace hasn't really been part of this game. He's kind of just been like just doing gens and hiding. Oh no. Oh no, we're at 2 gens with 2 people dead. Oh no. Yeah, essentially you could just have the worst chase in the world right now and you probably will be fine. Like, you can take this bad chase in this house because who cares? 2 people are dead. So many people will take a chase like, why didn't he take that window? Why did he not take that window? It was literally free. I don't understand. Yeah, like, you can take bad chases or take long chases. They just have to be at the end of the game. And I think this is the thing I want to clarify, because whenever I say I want you to have 30 to 40 second chases in this game, I mean on average, not period. I mean on average, and I do clarify that, but people like to overlook that, right? Like, on average, like right now, you have 2 people dead. You have 180 seconds before this game goes badly for you. You have a lot of time because Ada has to do 2 full gens by herself while you chase this guy. So that you have at least 180 seconds of time to just mess around and do whatever the heck you want. The bar has moved. So if you want to mess around and maybe chase in a bad place for fun, or, like, you know, chase a good survivor and learn some things, you have 180 seconds. Oh god, I didn't mean to unfull screen it. Yeah, you have the time now. You have the time. Doesn't proc? Yeah, so you literally had 180 seconds. You literally had 180 seconds to have the worst chase you in the world. If you wanted to. I think you're using the TVs here to see if you get condemned on her on the left. Which is smart. Smart stuff. But if she's not on a TV, it's like, oh. I like how she just sat on gens most of the match. And just had really bad chases and she's teabagging. Like, cool. Good one. You did it. Let's see, what are their perks looking like? That one's really strong on the Ada. Of course, she's the one teabagging because she has the most stuffed build. Bill had object, but, like, didn't use it well at all. Quick and quiet and sprint burst. Why? Yeah, besides Ace, they kind of had really good builds for the most part. So, especially on Haddonfield, like the way they performed was not indicative of, not indicative of like what they brought in. Like they definitely, good map, good perks. They should have done a lot better, and they just didn't. But the main things for you, the main takeaways for you, obviously we talked about leave weak pallets up, because they actually serve as more of a benefit to you than having them broken. Because, for example, in that back house, the 2-story house pallet that's super weak, if somebody's running across the street, right, and they're trying to get away from you from like the Meyer side, if they see that pallet, they may be, you know, compelled to go loop there, even though it's really weak. So they are already out of loop. Realistically, it is the smarter, safer play to try to make the 2-story house at the very least. But by leaving that pallet up, it's better than nothing. So they'll go there, and then that's a free hit for you. So it's actually a lot better to leave like short and unsafe pallets up, whereas pallets that are longer and safe, or tiles that are longer and safer conjoining to the pallet, it's probably better to kick those and get those out of the way. There's plenty of chases that you had that were longer than they should have been, or would have went a lot worse for you if you were fighting better players. No offense to the players in this match, fighting a lot more skilled survivors that you just kind of left up. So make sure you're kicking super strong pallets and leaving up really small ones and short ones, short tiles for your benefit later. Oh, I think that might be it for you. I mean, you did most things pretty well. Yeah, you did most things pretty well. You might only have one takeaway. Like, I can't think of anything you did. Like, there's plenty of small Sadako stuff that like I told you about, but like that's character specific. That's not really you. That's just kind of like learning and knowing very intricate things about her. I mean, I guess I'll just put that there. Is like, hey, did you know that Sadako comes with base kit whispers, sort of mini whispers with their TVs. If there's static playing on the screen, that means nobody's around that television. But if it's playing the opening intro that came with the character when she first came out on the television, that means somebody's nearby. Somebody's nearby. So, yeah. If you didn't know that, now you do. It's very, very helpful. Yeah, but besides doing very Sadako specific things, and or rather not doing very Sadako specific things, like the using the televisions as info, not using your face to trick people, like that's basically it. I don't really. Yeah, that's about it. You play well, you do well. So besides that, you're good. You're good.